Hey everyone, welcome to the Self Control Show. This is the essential podcast for every man seeking mastery over his own life. Here, we're going to delve deep into the art and science of self control, self regulation, and the intricate workings of the nervous system. Here's your next episode. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. What I've got for you today is overcoming self sabotage and, dealing with things like not being able to meet your goals, procrastination, lack of motivation, and really the behaviors around not being able to follow through on the things you really want in life and why that might be happening to you. And if it is happening to you, probably why is it happening to you over and over and over again? So let's just start by kind of talking about how change happens in the different stages of change. So, first off, what you do is it's a stage of pre contemplation. So, you're not quite ready to change, or maybe you're just considering it, but you aren't actually taking action steps forward. And then next up is contemplation, which is you're on the fence about it. So you're starting to think about changing. Maybe there's this thing that you do or this goal that you want to hit, but it still seems like it's too big. So you're not taking action. Thirdly is preparation. You've identified problems and what you might need with regards to support, and you're beginning to actually take action. It's before you take action, but you're actually gearing up towards making a change in your life. And then lastly, you are taking action. You've decided, hey, you've set this goal and you start doing the things to make a change. And here's where typically people start to experience that form of self sabotage, right? So they take action, and then what happens? Naturally, you return to old patterns and behaviors, and you abandon the new changes, and you end up relapsing back to the old ways of how you ever did the thing that you did before. And this is where a lot of the frustration happens. This is where a lot of things develop, like limiting beliefs, the belief that you can't do it or you're not good enough. A lot of times that surfaces there. And then the cycle repeats itself. So you'll end up in that relapse phase. You'll go back into pre-contemplation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And this cycle can be very, very demoralizing, diminishing with regards to motivation. A lot of times it just completely stops people in their tracks. And eventually, you go through this cycle enough, and that's how people just believe that they are the way that they are. And they're not actually capable of doing anything bigger or better for themselves. So, understanding self control and self regulation is a huge part of this journey because essentially what's happening whenever you go to make a change, again, if you've listened to episode 3, the foundations of self-control, you know that your nervous system is constantly trying to protect you and keep you safe. Now, again, that is not just against physical threats, but whenever you're actually changing something for yourself in your life, whether that be going for that relationship, going for that um, uh, job transfer, going for that raise, pushing forward into the future, all of those things, depending on your past and your history, could potentially be unsafe for you. Now, this might sound funny to some of you, but the real reason why you can't have and you don't have the life that you want or the life that you think you want, or you're not hitting your goals, um, is because on some level, you aren't perceiving that as safe to have. Now, this happens a lot, especially with regard when it comes to like money and finances. A lot of people think they have money blocks. But a lot of times, what it is your relationship to the thing that you want. And all of this really boils down to your past and how you were shown, the things that you saw with regards to, again, this is a little bit broad, but whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, that being a safe thing to have for yourself. Now it's like, okay, cool, but how do I actually put this into something that's tangible for me? Well, always, 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 the number one thing that I recommend is stop trying to do it by yourself. Especially for men, this is a super common thing is we'll go out and we try to conquer the world and we'll do it with no support and we'll do it by ourselves and we won't have anybody to go to with regards to issues or problems and we don't know how to build a team around, you know, being able to support us for whatever it is that we need to do for the task at hand. And this is so important because really in my experience and the clients that I work with, especially with men, it's like really frowned upon to ask for help. In a lot of situations, it's almost considered weak. And this is about as far from the truth as at least because I'll be honest, this was a trap that I was in for a long, long time. And it wasn't until I started to understand that, hey, asking for help didn't mean I was weak. It was a safe thing to do. There are people out there that can actually help me get what I want faster. I started showing myself and giving myself proof that that was the case. And now it's like, now I know 100% getting the right mentorship, getting the right support is the only way to do anything big in your life. And if you have goals that's ever seemed unattainable, most likely it's because you didn't put in place the right support to be able to get yourself to there, right? And what I mean by that, get yourself to there, is to be able to sustain for a long enough period of time the actionable things that you need to do to be able to make change in your life to produce the results that you're wanting to get. So, how this would look, the states of change for a tangible, real life result for you is like you want pre contemplation to be um, with support, right? You want to have support when you're in that pre contemplating stage of like, hey, like what I want to consider to change. And then when you're in that contemplation preparation stage, what you want to do is you want to get lined up with your purpose, right? It's like, why do you want this? And then really understand at the very, very root, you want to be able to anchor into like, hey, am I trying to be a transitional character? Why am I doing this? Am I doing this for my family? Am I trying to, prove the naysayers wrong? Or am I trying to prove my supporters right? Really being able to have an anchored in purpose is like rocket fuel whenever you're trying to make a change, set a goal, go for something big in your life. Because the fact is that motivation comes and goes. You need to have systems and support in place to get you through the days where it just doesn't feel like you have it in you to do the thing that you need to do to actually get yourself the results that you want. So, next up, action. We want to take action with support. Okay, again, taking action by ourselves, as the saying goes, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And this is especially important whenever you are doing something bigger, reaching a goal that you have never met before, because a lot of times what's going to happen is you are going to be up against a lot of things that maybe that you've never done before, right? And we know whenever we are taking on more, what happens is we are increasing what's called our allostatic load, and we are shrinking our window of tolerance. We are losing bandwidth in our ability to stay in our green state. Again, this is all talked about in depth on episode 3. Because when we are moving forward and setting goals and doing bigger and better things, we want to be in ventral. We want to be tethered to green because that is going to be able to energize us moving forward. It's going to keep us connected with our creativity and the state that we need to be able to provide results. And then lastly, whenever you get okay, so we talked about action, and then instead of relapse, what happens is when you go to take action, you are going to have, oh, okay, here's that feeling that's coming up. Here's where I usually self-sabotage. Here's where I usually do that thing that I always do. With the right support, you're going to have those same feelings come up, but instead of that old pattern happening, what's going to happen is you're going to give yourself a disconfirming experience of something new happening. And what that's going to do is actually rewire pathways in your brain via neuroplasticity, which is going to, again, the cells that wire together or fire together, wire together, as the saying goes. And what's going to happen is you're going to start connecting these new actions to rewards because new different things are happening and you're not falling back into your old patterns. And then next thing you know, of course, you want to navigate the ups and downs with support and keep build in maintenance, because what happens is a lot of times we develop recency bias, right? We get a coach or we get support for a certain amount of time, and all of a sudden we're like, oh, we feel great, we're hitting goals, we're moving forward, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, this is just how it's going to be forever. So then we change the recipe to what we were putting in during the times when we were achieving things. And then next thing you know, the old cycle starts to repeat itself because we don't have support for ongoing continued commitment. Because here's what happens: as soon as we achieve more, we level up, right? And what that's called is new level, new devil. So although we may have overcome blocks that we had, we've overcome certain aspects of self-sabotage along the way. Whenever we step up in our life and we start really achieving more, what happens is we start taking on more. So naturally, without support, what's going to happen is we are going to start dropping out of our green. We're going to start dropping out of our window of tolerance because our allostatic load increases, and we're not going to be able to maintain that growth to hit the goals that we want to hit over a long period of time. So if there's anything that I can leave you with here and how really to overcome the self-sabotage, is to really lean into the fact that there's nothing wrong with you. Okay? This isn't just who you are. This isn't, something that you are doomed to repeat for the rest of your life. All it is, in my opinion, a lack of support and a lack of a few self-control, self-regulation tools that can get you through that relapse period where instead of falling back into old patterns, you start to have the tools to be able to, create that safety within your nervous system when you're doing harder and more difficult tasks. And this is so important in the moment and so important as you move forward over a long period of time, especially when you're trying to do bigger, better, badder things in your life. So I hope this was helpful for you guys. If you are looking for one-on-one support to really move forward, if you're looking to find your purpose, if you're looking to, have more and be more and do more in your life, or even you're having issues with applying this to things like making changes in your relationship, I'm available for one-on-one coaching. There'll be a link in the show notes to book a call, and we can hop on and see if we're a good fit. Otherwise, check me out on Instagram, Jason Schnitzer Coaching. I put a lot of other free content on there. It's the platform that I'm on, aside from here, the most. And you can always reach out to me there via DM. So thanks for watching, you guys, and I'll catch you on the next one.